Yeah, so hello there, praise King Jesus, how are you doing? I'm Joy Chosen once again, and I'm so happy to be talking to you. It is a blessing, pleasure always to know that you're watching. You're welcome to the Why Not Show, only here where we believe that if others can, you also can. Sometime back, I brought you the CEO of Olive Branch Ministries, and once again, he's back in Uganda. I couldn't resist for him to talk to us because he has a lot of knowledge. Sometimes I want copy and paste his mind to mine because he's so wise. So he's going to be sharing with us what he's going to tell you. But let him first say hello to us.
Hello, Joy Chosen. How are you?
Hello, Mr Gary.
How are you?
I'm blessed and unstoppable.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I am blessed and unstoppable also.
So you're sharing with us something today.
Yes. Yes. There's principles in everything. There's principles in farming. If you don't do the principles of farming right, you will not get the harvest. It's the same thing in our Christian life. And I take these principles from Joshua. The very first part of the book of Joshua. God is talking to Joshua about how to lead the land, or how to lead the people, and how to have victory. And I get from that conversation between God and Joshua, in Joshua chapter 1, I get 4 victory principles that are so very important for us to have victory in our lives. And I'll share them very quickly, but you'll find them in the first chapter of Joshua, but let me share them with you now. Victory principle number 1. Very, very, very important.
First of all, what is victory?
What is victory? It's what everything is about. It's victory, it's success, being successful in our Christian life. It's not being defeated. It's coming up against an enemy and being victorious. The challenges in our life, it's coming up against temptation for sin and being victorious over that. It's living in victory. As a winner, living as a winner. Maybe that's another good way to think of it. So these are 4 principles of victory, or 4 principles of winning in the Christian life. The first one we see is very, very important, and it's very interesting. It's a principle that says that the victory is won before the battle has begun. What if you were a football player and you were on the side and the game was going to start in just a few minutes, and you looked at the scoreboard and you saw we've already won before you even played. Boy, but they said, but you must still play in order to get to the end of the game. How much confidence would you play with if you already knew that you were a winner? You just play with so much confidence. And that's what God wanted Joshua to know, that he had already won, because he says, I will give you, not I might, not if you fight hard enough you can. He says, I will give you. So that's principle number 1, that victory is won before the battle has begun. That's important for your mind and important for your life. The second one is victory is based upon the promise and the character of God. Now that may sound simple, but it's profound. You see, Joy, I will try very hard to never lie to you. However, I can lie. I won't intend to, and I don't plan to, but I can. I've got the ability to lie.
Because you're human.
Because I'm human. But the important thing to know about God is He cannot lie. He cannot lie.
Not He will, but He can.
He cannot. He cannot. And so if He says, I will, then He will. I may say to you, Joy, I will, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a lie, but maybe I just didn't have the ability to make it come to pass. But you see, victory is based not on your ability to be strong, but it's on your ability, on the character and the promise of God. So when God says, I will, He will. Exactly. Principle number 3 is, it becomes very, very clear in that first chapter of Joshua that your attitude in battle is everything. Attitude in battle is everything. Think of what God said to Joshua. Joshua, be strong. Be courageous. Be very courageous. In everything you do, be confident in what you do. So if you're in the football game, you look, you see the score is you've already won, but you have to play the game. You go out and play it with strength, and you play it with confidence, because attitude in that game is everything to winning. Attitude is everything in the battle. That brings us to principle number 4, and don't miss this principle. In Joshua chapter 1, it's very, very clear that God is telling Joshua to obey. He says, read the Bible, study the Bible, obey the Bible. Do everything that you find in the Bible, in the Word, okay? You see, what was God telling Joshua to do? It was obedience. Joshua, I want you to be obedient because I'm going to release my power. On the seventh day, march around the city 7 times. And at the end of those times, I want you to blow the trumpet and I want you to shout. You see, that was the battle plan. Yeah, and so it was a simple act of obedience. And so Joshua did that for 6 days, and on the 7th day, he went around the city 7 times. They shouted, they blew the trumpet, and guess what happened? The walls of Jericho fell down by the power of God. You see, it was a simple act of obedience that released the power of God. Obedience is not just obedience for obedience sake. Obedience is there in order to release the power of God in your life. So, we see 4 principles of victory. Victory is yours. God has already paid the price for victory. You go out there and claim it and live in victory.
Praise.
Joy Chosen, thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you so much, Mr Gary Dickinson. But for those that came in late, you just summarize the 4 principles.
The 4 principles. First of all, victory is won before the battle has begun. Second of all, victory is not based upon you. It's based upon the power. No. It's based upon the character and the promise of God. Third of all, victory, attitude is everything in victory. God said to Joshua, be strong, be courageous, be very courageous. What he's saying is, attitude is everything in battle. And fourth, victory power is released by a simple act of obedience. God wants you to be obedient in order to release power in your life. Those are the 4 principles as I understand them in Joshua chapter 1.
Wow. Thank you very much, Mr. Gary Dickinson. I'm so honored that you have to share that. I know it is going to help a lot of businessmen, a lot of ministers, because when you go in the business, that is the battle you have started, and when you are alive, then you are in the battlefield. Unless you die, then the battle won't stop. So these are the principles that I have to help you throughout your whole life. So thank you again, Mr. Gary Dickinson.
You are most welcome, Joy Chosen.
Why not?